Hey guys, it's Daniel. The following is a quote from Nirvana guitar tech Ernie Bailey, where he shares his thoughts on why Nirvana still retains its popularity. If you'd like to see the interview I did with Ernie Bailey, where he discusses a variety of different subjects about Nirvana's history, the link is available in the description box below. As per the quote, here it is. Quote, "Why do they live on? Well, I hate to say it, but it's like Hendrix. He died young, and he died on top of his game, and he left a perfect legacy." Nirvana really only released a small number of albums. They were all good. They never got around to putting out the bad one. And they never got around to having to play the Emerald Queen Casino and things like that. Or maybe they're like an artist who painted 3 paintings, and all you've got is 3, and so you can never really get too much of them. They came and went in a time before computers and YouTube and all this stuff. They existed in this time when there was a lot of mystery, and a lot of patience required for being involved in music. You had to wait forever for albums to come out. You had to wait forever for a video, if they even chose to release them. So I think that part of it continues on because you're still dealing with a kind of limited exposure. And I think that Kurt Cobain as a person or as an entity has just enough mystery that he is open for interpretation and also remains interesting. I think he also understands the importance of mysteries. That's what makes anything really interesting. I mean, once you have the answers, then you move on to something else. So I think he was just one of those guys that ultimately asks more questions than he'll give you answers. End quote. Now, here is a clip from my interview with Ernie Bailey where he discusses what Kurt Cobain was like. Again, if you want to see the full interview, the link is available below. What was Kurt like as a person, just as a friend? How was he like to hang out with?
Super unusual, in that he was just incredibly quiet. And so, I never really felt like I knew him like a normal friendship. It's like where you hang out and talk all the time. He's just incredibly quiet. And I think that he was overwhelmed, very much so in the time that I was around him. So I just didn't burden him with any chit chat or small talk unless we needed to talk about guitars or our processes. So I think that we would find humorous things to talk about within that, but it just wasn't like, I think he was pulled at from so many different directions that it was never really like, it was never like a normal encounter with much of anybody else. I often describe, I think, the experience of being around him is profound because, again, he was also a very unique person. And so it took a little while to realize that a lot of what you're experiencing is you are in the company of a genius and they don't behave the same way that ordinary people do. And so special rules apply and just give them a lot of space. And, and that is something that I think is appreciated.
What were some of the qualities of him that you would see day to day?
Sometimes abstract conversations were really fun. You often would assemble them, after the fact, and his sense of humor was amazing. There were times where you'd sort of question, did you actually really say that? And also, where were you going with that? And so I don't know. He was unbelievably funny, profound in ways, and even just how he lived his life, and you very, very, very quickly forgot that he was famous and that he was the legend. Because he was just a very unique guy, but also he just didn't really project any of that kind of stuff when you're around him.
Your friendship with him, how has that impacted your life personally?
I don't know. I guess my friends will occasionally say they've heard a Nirvana song and the first thing they think about is you, and it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. So,
prior to working with Nirvana, did you do guitar teching for other bands at the time?
I had a repair shop for well over a decade in Eastern Washington, and I never worked on the road formally as a guitar tech. I took care of a lot of people's gear who were professional players, but not to the extent of working shows with them. And so that was my first job as a tech. And I think that I'd held off on doing that because I always felt that you had to be incredibly good, to be a guitar tech in terms of repair. And I just remember thinking that it was just something that was just some level of this craft that, you had to be just incredibly talented in order to work with famous people. And I found out pretty quickly, getting out on the road, that that wasn't necessarily the case. Like a lot of bands, their crew were people that they grew up with, friends from high school, people they'd played in bands with, people who just knew how to live on the road, kind of knew basics about like how to handle gear. But it was very uncommon for people to have in-depth, detailed, extensive repair knowledge. So quickly I was getting feedback from people in the industry saying, hey, I heard that you're Nirvana's guitar tech. We've been hearing all about you. We hear that you fix the cars. We hear that you fix, everything. And so it was like, wow. So it kind of put that imposter syndrome to bed pretty early, at least, to where you felt like, okay, I guess I'm cool. I can hang out.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this interview clip of mine with Ernie Bailey, make sure to subscribe for more because there is a lot more coming. Everything on my channel is 100% original. I'm the one conducting all the interviews and doing all the editing. So if you want to support me, the best way to do so is simply to subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.